So, last night, I was thinking to myself, you know what, over the course of the next month, for the course of December 2021, I'm going to review a bunch of Christmas films like I did last year. And so, last night, I decided to start off with Deck the Halls. And what a bad decision I made. Deck the Halls. So basically now it's the 1st of December, it's the 1st of December 2021, and I thought to myself, you know what, I'm going to review a bunch of Christmas films over the course of the next month, like I did in December 2020, although maybe I won't review as much Christmas films as I did in December 2020, but nevertheless, I'm going to try and review as many Christmas films as possible over the course of the next month in December 2021, and I started off with Deck the Halls, and man alive was that a bad decision, because basically, Deck the Halls follows Danny DeVito's character who moves into this neighbourhood where basically Mathew Broderick's character already lives. And basically, in order for his house to be seen from space, Danny DeVito's character puts all these Christmas lights on his house. Yes, that's right, he puts all these Christmas lights on his house so his house can be seen from space. And then basically, that annoys Mathew Broderick's character because heck, they're neighbours, and then basically, for the course of the next hour and a half, Danny DeVito's character and Mathew Broderick's character go face to face, they become enemies, and they face off against each other for the course of the rest of the movie. Then, in the end, they realise that family matters the most at Christmas, and they rekindle with their families after they previously annoyed them. And honestly, that's basically the plot of Deck the Halls. Honestly, that's my interpretation of the plot of Deck the Halls. That's basically what I got from the movie when I watched it last night, because honestly, this movie is just awful. This is such an awful Christmas movie. But at the same time though, it's one of those movies that, you know, it's so bad, but you can't turn away from it. Honestly, I was watching this movie stunned at how bad it was. Stunned at the people involved, people like Danny DeVito and Mathew Broderick in there, and other famous people as well. I think all these people involved in this movie, and yet it's so awful. It's so agonisingly painful to watch. But at the same time though, you can't turn away from it. It's one of those movies which is so bad, but at the same time though, kind of good. Because honestly, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have a little bit of enjoyment watching this film. No, I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy myself a little bit watching this film, because yes, it's awful, but at the same time though, it's so hard to look away from, because you're watching this atrocity take place on screen, and actually, it's kind of entertaining seeing this huge car crash of a film, because I don't know how, but it's just like, what is going on? Honestly, there's so many sequences where you're just going to sit there and go, how? How did that happen? How is this film so bad? How did you get Danny DeVito involved in that? How do you get Mathew Broderick involved? How do you get all these people involved in such a car crash of a movie? But at the same time though, you just can't turn away from it. And honestly, that's just perfectly exemplified in one scene in the film where basically Danny DeVito's character, because he's obsessed with Christmas, because he wants his house seen from space, which by the way is so stupid, and I will be going into the plot a bit later in this review, but basically there's one sequence in particular where Danny DeVito's character gets his sleigh, which basically has horses tied to it, which is dressed up as reindeer. Yes, it's actually seen in the film, I'm not making this up. And then basically, he gets his sleigh so he can make his house a bit more Christmassy. And at the same time, though, Mathew Broderick's character and his family are all wearing these Christmas jumpers and trying to take this Christmas photograph together. But at the same time, though, because of plot convenience, basically Mathew Broderick's character ends up on this sleigh which Danny DeVito's character has brought. And basically, Mathew Broderick's character gets away on the sleigh. The sleigh starts moving, the horses start, you know, running through the town where the film takes place, and over these snowy hills, and then over to this icy lake, and then basically, Mathew Broderick's character falls down through the icy lake, and then wakes up in the back of his wife's car naked next to Danny DeVito, who's also naked and rubbing him. That's actually seen in the film. I'm not making it up. Basically, Mathew Broderick's character, he goes on the sleigh goes all the way through this town, and then basically goes all the way with these snowy hills and all the way down to this icy lake, and then basically falls through the ice lake, and here's the best part, he wakes up naked next to Danny DeVito, who's also naked, and rubbing his belly. That's actually a scene in the film. I'm not making it up. Honestly, you can't write this sort of stuff. I can't believe the amount they got away with, and I can't believe someone actually funded this film. Who thought this film was a good idea? Who thought this film was a good idea? Because literally, the plot of this film, okay, Danny DeVito's character puts all these Christmas lights on his house so it can be seen from space. Honestly, I thought the plot was going to be, you know, Danny DeVito's character puts all these Christmas lights on his house because it's like emotional meaning Christmas has to him. But no, the reason he puts all the Christmas lights on his house is so it can be seen from space. That's actually the setup for the film. I'm not joking. And honestly, thank God Danny DeVito and Mathew Broderick are in there. Thank God those two actors in the film, because even so Danny DeVito isn't at his best in the film, he's at least enjoyable to watch. He's bringing some energy to his role, and it does fill in a couple of sequences, like the director just said to him, you know, just go on with the scene, do whatever you want. That's what it kind of feels like in every single sequence of the film. The director just let Danny DeVito do whatever you want in every single scene. And I have read some trivia on IMDb, so I don't know how true this is, because IMDb sometimes isn't always accurate, but I have read some trivia where basically Danny DeVito only like flew in to film his scenes. He didn't really want to be on set. And also the trivia said that, Mathew Broderick was, wandering around set and whispering to himself, "I've hit what bottom." Imagine if that's true. Imagine if that's true. I mean, I don't know if it's true because it IMDb trivia, so it might not be true. But nevertheless, if it is, that just makes this whole film like 10 times better. The fact that the actors don't need to be there, and literally they're the best part of the film. Honestly, Mathew Broderick's quite enjoyable to watch as well. Again, not doing his best performance. I much prefer him First People's Day Off. But nevertheless, he's not bad in this film. And Danny DeVito and Mathew Broderick aren't giving off bad performances, not giving off great performances, but at least they're in this film because they make it somewhat enjoyable to watch just with their performances. Even if it doesn't feel like a couple of scenes like the director says, Danny, just do whatever you want in the scene. That's what it just kind of feel like with most scenes with Danny DeVito. Although at the same time, though, it kind of works. But then you actually look at their characters. The characters which Danny DeVito and Mathew Broderick play are just so annoying as characters. Honestly, you don't root for them at all. And that might be intentional, but it's not a good thing. Honestly, I just found the characters annoying, and you want to root for one of them. You want to go, actually, I'm on Danny DeVito's side. Actually, I'm on Mathew Broderick's side. Actually, in the end, I didn't root for either of them. I just kind of go, okay, they're both really annoying, and I understand why they're pissing their families off. I understand that. I don't know. And yes, the families leave them after a while. Because Danny DeVito and Mathew Broderick's characters are acting like babies over this, whole feud that these two characters have. Basically, their families leave. And honestly, I thought their families left, extended families, like the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles. I thought the families left to, like, extended family. No, they left to a motel in town. And basically, these two families and these two wives, they've only just met, the two wives, the Mathew Broderick characters and Danny DeVito's characters. Basically, they decide they're going to spend Christmas together at this motel. And you're just trying to go, okay, what? Why are they just going to go to extended family? They're leaving their husbands for Christmas. Just go to extended family. Don't go to a random motel, spend Christmas with people you've only just met. I don't understand that. But anyway, then basically later on in the film, Mathew Broderick's character and Danny DeVito's characters realise that they have to get their families and their wives back before Christmas Day. And then basically put all these Christmas lights, which, we're on Danny DeVito's house, put all the Christmas lights, which are on Danny DeVito's house, through the town where the film takes place, leading up to the motel and leading all the way back to Danny DeVito's house in the film. And then basically, I'm not joking, this actual scene in the film where all the wives and the families and Mathew Broderick's characters and Danny DeVito's characters are walking through all these Christmas lights and go, oh wow, look how Christmassy this all is. And then one of Danny DeVito's daughters in the film, when he gets to Danny DeVito's house, goes, oh my god, these are Dad's lights. That's quite literally a line of dialogue in the film. And honestly, I just had my head in my hands watching that scene because it was just so awful. And it just doesn't make any sense at all. So let me get this straight. They put all these Christmas lights through the town where the film takes place, and it's just kind of like, what? Were there not any cars on the road at that point? How did they get away with that? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And if you think the finale was stupid there, actually in the finale, and spoilers here in case you are going to watch the film, but then basically in the finale, all the people in this town, which, Mathew Broderick's character and Danny DeVito's character have been pissing off, all the people in this town realise, actually, you know what? We're going to put our Christmas lights on Danny DeVito's house. This is actually seen in the film. This is actually the end of the film. They realise that they're going to put all their Christmas lights on Danny DeVito's house so it can be seen from space, and then they do that, but then the fuse goes on. I literally thought, thank God, can we stop having all this stuff to do with the Christmas lights? But then, get it here, basically Danny DeVito's character's wife in the film starts singing Oh Holy Night, and everyone starts singing Oh Holy Night, and starts getting, lights in their phone and things like that. He's going to go, what is going on here? This is awful. And I quite literally, I'm not joking, I quite literally had my head in my hands like this, watching the end of the film. Honestly, I was like, oh no. No, oh, it's so bad, but I couldn't turn away from it. It was that bad, but that good at the same time, you get what I mean? It was just so incredibly bad, and I'm not sure what these actors involved. Why is Danny DeVito involved? Why is Mathew Broderick involved? Did he need a new house or something? Did they lose a bet? I just don't understand why they're involved in this film, and it's just so random. There's one sequence where there's a Christmas fair taking place at the town where the film takes place, and then basically, because Mathew Broderick's character and Danny DeVito's character go at each other at this point, basically, they go on this child's Christmas side to race each other who can get down first. That is actually a scene in the film, and also they do like a mini ice skating competition at one point, and then there's another scene in the film, which is basically shot like a secret agent sequence from like a Mission Impossible film. Basically, Mathew Broderick's character is sneaking into Danny DeVito's garden to try and turn out all the lights off his house. And honestly, it's just so weird and random. You just kind of sit there going, what? And also, the plot is just so all over the place, and the dialogue is so awful. There's one sequence in particular with Mathew Broderick's character is talking to his wife early in the film and goes, you know what? This Christmas is for the kids. And it's just kind of like, oh, this dialogue is so awful, and it's not how people speak. It's not real life dialogue. It's just absolutely terrible. And also, there's another thing, there's small nitpicks in there as well, which I really got annoyed at, which shouldn't really annoy me, but because the film has so many things wrong with it, these little nitpicks annoy me quite a lot as well. Like, constantly, there's always snow on the ground in this film, but it never really snows. It only really snows like 2 sequences in the entirety of the film. Honestly, that's not a joke. It only really snows in like 2 scenes, and there's always snow on the ground. But the course of me trying to go, okay, that doesn't really work. And also, this film was released in 2006, around the same time now, you know, every single film around this time had clear overdubbing of dialogue in every single scene. Honestly, the same happens with The Holiday, which I reviewed last year on this channel, and the same happens here. In every single scene in the film, it looks like the lines have been overdubbed by the actual actors, and it just doesn't look like actually speaking in that moment. And honestly, again, it's just a small thing, but actually, it's quite a big thing in the whole grand scheme of things of the film, because the film is just one huge car crash. Honestly, it really is. And it has so many problems, and tonally it's all over the place. The sequence where, you know, Mathew Broderick's character is firing fireworks at DeVito's house, and I'm not really sure why that was happening. I just thought it was quite violent. Like, okay, we're going here now. This is meant to be funny, because I'm really not finding that funny. And then when the wives and families get sick of the main character, they go to a motel. Not to extend your family, they go to a motel. And you just kind of sit there and go, why? What is this film? It's so terrible, but at the same time, no, I can't turn away from it. That's how I feel about Deck the Halls. It's such an agonisingly painful watch, and I have no intention to ever watch this film again, but you know what? I'm happy I watched it, because I don't think I'll ever find another Christmas movie like this anytime soon. Honestly, it's just awful, but at the same time, no, fun to watch. It's an awful but good Christmas film, you get on me. It's one of those films you just can't turn away from. You have your head in your hands in so many sequences. You sit there and go, how did they make this film happen? How are Danny DeVito and Mathew Broderick involved in this film? That's the reason I watched this film, because Mathew Broderick and Danny DeVito were involved. Honestly, I saw Danny DeVito on the poster and went, actually, Danny DeVito, great actor. You know what? I'm going to sit down and watch this film. Hopefully, it'll just be a really enjoyable Christmas film. And my God, it was enjoyable, but not for the right reasons. Honestly, it's awful. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. It's awful. I can say awful a million times, because this film is just an atrocity. It's so bad, and it's so agonisingly painful to watch, but at the same time, no, you can't turn away from it, because it's so bad, but at the same time, no, so fun to watch, because it's just crazily bad. It really is, and I can't stress it enough. This is an awful Christmas film. I enjoyed watching it for the wrong reasons, but it's one of those films which literally makes you have your head in your hand like this. Honestly, I had to turn away in some sequences because it was so cringeworthy. I really did. And I get it, Christmas films are meant to be cringeworthy, but this film took cringeworthy to another level. Honestly, at the end, when everyone's singing Oh Holy Night, I literally was just like, no. Because it's just so cringy, and it's so bad, and it's just a huge mess, totally all over the place, a complete and utter car crash of a film that you just can't turn away from. And that's kind of how I feel about Deck the Halls overall. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Deck the Halls, I'm going to say that it's a 3 out of 10. Actually, no, I'm going to say it's a 2 out of 10. Honestly, this movie is just awful. I can't believe I'm just giving it a 3 out of 10. No, it's a 2 out of 10. Definitely a 2 out of 10. Honestly, it's terrible. It really is. But the thing is, though, I will say this. Watching this film, it did feel Christmassy. It did feel like a Christmas film at the end, which is kind of the highest praise I can give it. And actually, that's not a bad praise. Like other Christmas films like, you know, Polar Express, Home Alone, Night Before Christmas, and also It's a Wonderful Life, these films make me feel like it's Christmas. Make me feel like it's this wonderful time of the year. Make me feel like it's the most wonderful time of the year, to quote Andy Williams there from the song. You know, these films make me feel like Christmas, and by no means am I saying that, you know, Deck the Halls is on the same level as, you know, It's a Wonderful Life or Night Before Christmas. I'm definitely not saying that. You know, those films are actually generally good films, and Deck the Hall is not. But the thing is, though, watching Deck the Halls, it did make me feel like Christmas in a weird way. It did make me feel Christmassy, and you know what? I'll give it that praise. That's actually quite a high praise there. It did make me feel like Christmas. It's not a bad praise, but overall, like I said before, it's a car crash of a film. It's awful. And actually, I enjoyed watching it, but I have no intention to watch it ever again, because it is just so bad. It's terrible. It's agonisingly painful to watch, but I couldn't turn away from it. And that's kind of how I feel about Deck the Halls overall. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Deck the Halls, I'm going to say that it's a 2 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Deck the Halls? Please do comment down below and know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please do click down below and subscribe on this video. Look forward to many more both film and TV reviews and Christmas film reviews coming very, very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now, bye!